Lecture examples number 1, 2, and 3 all have to do with this same equation. So we're going to use this as our reference equation. 2 HCl's, so 2 moles of hydrochloric acid plus 1 mole, an understood 1 of calcium carbonate, yields 1 mole of calcium chloride, 1 mole of carbon dioxide, 1 mole of water. Lecture example number 1 says how many moles of water can be produced from 8 moles of HCl. So that's lecture example number 1. The given information is that you're working with 8 moles of hydrochloric acid. The product that it asks about is water, and it asks about it in terms of moles. So it's blank moles of water. So we know we have the answer when we get 2 moles of water. Well, it's just a one-step problem because moles of HCl and moles of water are directly related to one another. So we're going to take 8 moles of HCl times, and it is 1 mole of water because it's 1 mole of water for every 2 moles of HCl. And I know to put HCl on the bottom because I begin with moles of HCl. I want that to divide away. So moles of HCl divide away, and then 8 times 1 over 2, and that would yield 4 moles of water. In terms of significant figures, you started with just 8. You get 4, which is also one significant figure, so that would be the number of significant figures. Lecture example number 2 wants to know how many grams, so we will be solving for grams of carbon dioxide that can be obtained from 4 moles of calcium carbonate. So we're finished with the question when we get grams of CO2. And we are going to begin, so this is lecture example number 2. Did that show up? Yeah, I think so. Lecture example 2, 4 moles, 4.0 moles of calcium carbonate. Moles of calcium carbonate are directly related to moles of carbon dioxide. Then once I get moles of carbon dioxide, I can convert that to grams of carbon dioxide. So we'll take moles times it is 1 mole of CO2 for every 1 mole of calcium carbonate. Moles of calcium carbonate will cancel out or divide away. 4 times 1 over, so that's going to be 4 moles of carbon dioxide, and then we will convert moles of carbon dioxide to grams of carbon dioxide. We're going to multiply that by the ratio of 1 mole of CO2 for every, so you can go to a periodic table. Carbon is 12.01, oxygens are each 16, so that's 32. It's 44.01 grams of CO2 for every 1 mole of CO2. Moles of carbon dioxide divide away. 4 times 1 divided by 1 times 44.01. The initial provided information was 2 significant figures, so we will keep 2 significant figures in our answer. Calculator tells you 176.04, but rounded to 2 significant figures, that's going to be 180 grams of carbon dioxide. And moving on, we can work out lecture example number 3. All right. Fast forward through this a little bit. Number 3 wants us to find the mass of calcium chloride. So So that would be grams of CaCl2 that can be obtained from 100 grams, 100.0 grams HCl. What are we going to do? We're starting at HCl with grams. We're going to convert grams to moles of HCl. Then we're going to convert moles of HCl to moles of calcium chloride, and then moles of calcium chloride, we can convert that to grams of calcium chloride. 3 steps. Grams to moles, moles of HCl to moles of calcium chloride, moles of calcium chloride to grams of calcium chloride. First step is going to be converting grams of HCl to moles. That means I have 1 mole of HCl for every however many grams HCl adds up to be. Hydrogen, 1.008 if you look at a periodic table. Chlorine, 35.45. Add all that together, we get 36.458 grams of HCl per mole of HCl. Grams of HCl will divide away, and then we're at this step, converting from moles of HCl to moles of calcium chloride. 1 mole of CaCl2 will be on top because that's where I'm headed, and HCl will go on the bottom. It is 2 moles of HCl for every 1 mole of calcium chloride. So moles of HCl will divide away. And our last step, now that we have moles of calcium chloride, is to convert to grams of calcium chloride. We're going to multiply that by grams on top and 1 mole on the bottom of calcium chloride. And then you'll need to add that up. Ca is 40.08 plus 2 chlorines. So that'll be 2 times 35.45. Punch that into a calculator. 40.08 plus 35.45 plus 35.45. And we get 110.98 grams of calcium chloride for every 1 mole of calcium chloride. Then we multiply across the whole top, multiply across the bottom, and divide. Or, however you like to do the math, 100 divided by 36.458 divided by 2 times 110.98. Doesn't matter how you punch it in, as long as you punch it in correctly. My calculator comes out with an answer of 152.2025344. Looking back to our original information, they gave us 100.0, that is 4 significant figures, so I'm going to round my answer to also 4 significant figures. 15.2 or 152.2. 152.2 grams of calcium chloride.